Hi everyone. Today I'm going to go over the results of the 2020 U.S. House elections. The only notes I have with me are the states and the district numbers, and I'm not going to be looking it up on the computer because I want to prove that I'm still good at something. So here we go. I'm going to skip certain states that really didn't go or did nothing interesting happen in certain states, so I'm not going to cover those states. So I'm going to start with Alaska. So in Alaska, Don Young, the Republican incumbent since 1973, defeated Democrat Elise Galvin by quite a lot, and she was actually running in a rematch. So that was pretty disappointing. But then again, this is kind of a theme we're going to see going forward, disappointment for Democrats. So there's that. I could comment on every single race, but I don't think I want to do that because I want to spare you some time. Because if I commented on everything, you wouldn't be able to get home, beat the traffic. You'd sit here until you were 100. So there's that. In Arizona 6, incumbent Republican David Schweikert beat Democrat Harold Tipperary. So Arkansas 2, this is one that's very close to me. Joyce Elliott, Democrat, lost to Republican French Hill. I don't really know what happened there. She was supposed to be a lot closer, but didn't turn out that way. So now we're going to go to California. In the 25th district, we do not know the result yet, but as of right now, Republican incumbent Mike Garcia, who was elected last May, is leading Christy Smith in their rematch. In the 39th district, Republican Young Kim is leading incumbent Gil Cisneros. He's a Democrat. In the 45th district, Katie Porter defeated Republican Greg Raths. She was the incumbent Democrat. She's a real progressive, actually stood for something, and lo and behold, she won. So there we have that. 48th district, we have Michelle Steele, Republican, defeated incumbent Democrat Harley Ruda. He's a guy that won because of the unpopularity of last cycle's incumbent, and I guess, when you don't stand for anything and you compromise with Republicans on everything, and you're too nice and not progressive enough, you tend to lose. If people are given a choice between Republican and Republican light, they're going to go Republican probably every single, or 9 out of 10 times at least. In the 50th district, Darrell Issa, Republican, he was in Congress for 18 years. He left last cycle, but he's going to come back after defeating Amar Campanachar, Democrat. Okay, so I'm going to go to Florida now. This is just terrible for Democrats. I don't even know what happened in Florida, but we'll go over it. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm bad at making videos, I guess. So in the 26th district, Debbie Mucarsel Powell, Democratic incumbent, lost to Carlos Jimenez, Republican. This is funny. She actually, the House Democrats did some sort of Zoom call, and they were talking about strategy and real serious stuff and how can we do better. She started crying about how nobody knows how to pronounce her name. Honestly, my name is Bell with Beall as a spelling. You need to get over it. You're like 50 years old and you're still not used to it. This is ridiculous. In the 27th district, Donna Shalala, Democratic incumbent, was defeated by Republican Maria Elvira Salazar in a rematch. Not surprised. In Georgia 6, Democratic incumbent Lucy McBath defeated Karen Handel in a rematch. In Georgia's 7th district, we had Carolyn Bordeaux, Democrat, beat Rich McCormick, Republican, in an open seat race. So there's that. Illinois' 3rd district, Marie Newman is a new member of Congress. She defeated Mike Frizzoloni, Republican. She actually knocked off a incumbent Democrat. I mean, this guy probably could have been a Republican, but she managed to beat him in the Democratic primary, and he'd been there for 16 years, so it's pretty decent accomplishment there. In the 6th district, Democratic incumbent Sean Casten defeated Jeannie Ives. And I'm going to say again, I might be looking at this sheet, but it's just states and district numbers. I actually have the winners up here because I'm, still good at one or two things in life. So, yeah. Okay, so in the 13th district, oh my gosh, who's in the 13th district? It was, you know what, we're just going to skip that one. We're going to go to 14. We might come back to 13 in a minute, but in the 14th hasn't been called, but it's Lauren Underwood and Jim Oberweis. Lauren Underwood is a Democrat. Jim Oberweis is a Republican. That has not been called yet. So, I'm really disappointed about 13. I'm going to have to go back and look that one up. Well, anyway, see, I'm not even good at this. So, in the 5th district of Indiana, we have Victoria Sparks, Republican, beat Christina Hale, Democrat. Now, Iowa. I think Republicans did okay in Iowa this year. So in the 1st district, we had Republican Ashley Hinson defeated Democratic incumbent Abby Finkenauer. In the 2nd district, which is an open seat, we had we didn't have anything because it hasn't been called yet, but it's very close within a few hundred votes or so. Marionette Miller Meeks, Republican, leads Rita Hart. In the 3rd district, Cindy Axney, Democrat, defeated former Congressman David Young in a rematch. She won the first time and she won this time, so that's a little bit of good news, I suppose. Okay. In Maine's 2nd district, we had Jared Golden defeat Dale Crafts. Jared Golden's a Democrat. This will be his 2nd term. In Michigan, that's ABC order, right? So in the 3rd district, we had Peter Mayer defeat Hillary Shelton. He's a Republican. She was a Democrat. In the 6th district, we had Fred Upton defeat John Hoadley, and Fred Upton is a Republican, and he's been there for a long time. I think since 1987, but don't quote me on that. In the 8th district, we had Alyssa Slotkin beat, whoever her Republican challenger is that I don't remember his name, but anyway, that's good. In the 11th district, Haley Stevens, Democrat, defeated, I think his name was Eric Ashaki, maybe. I don't remember. I think it was, though. So that's another race, obviously. In Minnesota's 1st district, Jim Hagedorn, Republican, defeated Democrat Dan Feehan in a rematch of 2018's race. In the 7th district of Minnesota, we have Michelle Fischbach, state senator, former lieutenant governor, defeat 30-year Democratic incumbent Colin Peterson. And he was almost conservative. He was a conservative Democrat, and he lost, no kidding, because when they're given the choice between Republican light, they're going to go Republican 9 out of 10 times, like I said. So he's also a candidate for Secretary of Agriculture under Joe Biden now that he's ended his congressional career. So, if you like a loser, I guess this will be a good one to go with, Joe. In the 8th district, we had Republican incumbent Pete Stauber beat Democrat Quinn Nystrom. Okay, we're a little over halfway, so bear with me. We're like 10 minutes in, so, In Montana, we are going to have in the House, we're going to have State Auditor Matt Rosendale has defeated Kathleen Williams. She ran last time, did not win, and she ran this time and did even worse. So there's that. In Nebraska's 2nd district, we have another rematch. Democrat Cara Eastman defeated Don Bacon in a rematch. She also underperformed a little bit, which was really disappointing because she's kind of actually progressive. So, you know, disappointing. In New Jersey's second district, we had Jeff Van Drew, former Democrat, turncoat, current Republican, defeat actual Democrat Amy Kennedy. He was the incumbent. He switched parties last year after doing some kind of weird grandstanding. I don't know. But anyway, we'll move on. You need to vet your candidates better if they're switching parties on you. Maybe don't pick ones that are almost like a Republican. In the third district, we had Andy Kim beat his Republican opponent, which, I'm really not doing well here. I mean, I've only gotten like 50 out of 52 or whatever the number is, but I don't know the name of the guy. It might be I think it might be David Richter. Don't quote me on that though. In New Mexico's second, we had Democratic incumbent Xochitl Torres Small fall to Yvette Harrell, Republican. So I'm just going to show you this because I'm not cheating, but there's no names on this. It's just states and district numbers. So please don't accuse me of cheating. And I'm not looking at the computer screen. Why would I not be able to remember if I was looking at a computer screen? I mean, unless I'm a really good actor, which I'm not. Okay. I got to stop going off on these little tangents. New York's first, we had Republican incumbent Lee Zeldin win over challenger Nancy Goroff. I need to make this a little quicker. So, New York 2, Peter King and Jackie, no, not Peter. Peter King's retiring, but it's Andrew Garbarino, Jackie Gordon. That race has not been called, but I don't think Gordon's going to win. I think it's going to be Republican Garbarino. So we'll see. Third district, that's a close one. Democratic incumbent Tom Suozzi. He's trailing by about 1.5 points against George Santos. So we'll see what happens there. 11th district, Max Rose, Democrat, lost to Nicole Maliotakis. I don't know how to say these. It's not my job to pronounce these people's names correctly. It's their job to pick a name that's pronounceable. So, sorry. 22, we have Claudia Tenney as leading Democratic incumbent Anthony Brindisi. I think she's probably going to win. She's a former congresswoman, and she's leading by quite a bit, so she's probably going to return. Okay, Oklahoma 5, we have Kendra Horn, Democratic incumbent, lost to State Senator Stephanie Bice. Okay, Pennsylvania, in the first district, we have Brian Fitzpatrick defeat Christina Finello. He's a Republican, but he's very moderate. His brother, who's passed away, was a very popular congressman, and he took over after he left Congress, and it seems like he's doing okay too. So, Pennsylvania 7. Now, if I get these numbers mixed up, don't come after me, but I'm going to try my best here. Susan Wild in the 7th has defeated Lisa Scheller, I think. Susan Wild is a Democratic incumbent. Okay, so who's in the 10th? 10. The 10th District of Pennsylvania, we got Scott Perry defeated State Auditor Eugene DePascal. So there's that. And I think it seemed like that one could flip, but I guess it didn't, like a bunch of others. So yeah. South Carolina's first, we have the first female graduate of the Citadel, Republican Nancy Mace. And I'm going to just talk about this for a little bit. I mean, she constantly brags about how, she went from Waffle House to the U.S. House and blah, blah, blah. I mean, just, that's really inspiring, but, maybe we should make it a little easier for other people to do that rather than just talking about how they should pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but that's okay. She defeated Democratic incumbent Joe Cunningham. He's another one of these moderate to conservative Democrats. So I've already talked about that. I'm not going over it again. Okay, Texas. In the second district, we have Dan Crenshaw, Republican. He's pretty high profile. He defeated Democrat Sima Lavardian. 7th District, we had Lizzie Fletcher defeat Wesley Hunt. She's a Democrat. He's a Republican. He actually went on Joe Rogan a couple of weeks ago. It didn't seem to help him, though, because he lost anyway. So, District 10, Mike McCall defeated Mike Siegel. Mike McCall's a Republican incumbent since 2005. So, there's that. 21. Who's in 21? Oh, yeah, I got it. In 21, Chip Roy, Republican, defeated Democratic State Senator Wendy Davis. In 23, we had a Republican. This was actually an upset. 23. Everybody thought Democrat Gina Ortiz Jones was just going to run away with this thing, and it turns out she lost by 5 points to Tony Gonzalez. I mean, it's kind of indicative of what happened 8 days ago. I think Democrats really treated the Latino population as a monolith, and they're like, oh, we got these people on lock. And they didn't, of course, because they blow everything. They just don't know what they're doing some of the time. So, the upsets happen when you don't pay attention to things, and this is what happened. District 24, Beth Van Doyne beat. She's a Republican. This is an open seat, so the incumbent was retiring. She beat Democratic incumbent Candace Valenzuela. I think that's her name. Don't quote me on that. Utah 4. We don't, because this is another one that hasn't been called, but currently Republican and former NFL player Burgess Owens is leading Democrat Ben McAdams. So there we have that. Okay. The last state I'm going to cover today is Virginia, and then you will be spared. Okay. Virginia 2, Elaine Luria, Democrat, defeated Scott Taylor in a rematch of last year's race. 5th District, I think that's Bob Good defeated Cameron Webb. Bob Good is a Republican. 7. Now, who's in 7? I don't know, but I know 7. Okay, I need to stop saying 7. But I know in 6, no, I don't know. Anyway, we're just going to skip that. I don't have good video editing software, so unfortunately I can't edit out these gaffes. So rather than looking like a serious political analyst, I'm probably going to look a little more like, Joe Biden and his gaffes. So at least I don't say anything too controversial, though. But, I'm not going to rip him too much. Okay. Well, it was very disappointing for Democrats. I don't know what happened, but they're going to have to do some reflecting on which direction they want to go. I think they should probably be a little more bold, a little more brave about certain positions they take rather than running to the right constantly. But we'll see if they do that next year because, they're going to 2022, if they don't fix this could be a bloodbath in 2 years, and I could come back here in 2 years and just could be completely beside myself. So we'll see what happens. But if you were one of the 12 people that watched, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.